Welcome to Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Casey Porter here. Hey, going to tune in for just a little bit here in the post game. Had a lot of exciting action in the Dodgers game tonight. I'll tell you what, man, the Dodgers went and got Tyler Glasnow for exactly what they saw tonight, and that is a huge fastball coming out of a 6'8" frame, and then that gigantic, absolutely gigantic curveball. So Tyler Glasnow, I thought, was just simply fantastic. Shohei Ohtani, he did exactly what Dodgers fans want to see him do. He got a base hit. He looked good. Hey, it was a night tonight to where, I tell you what, I don't even really, I say this quite a bit, but I know the Dodgers won 6-4. I really don't even hardly look at the scoreboard, but I get very excited when I get to see all the prospects that get into the action. So, hey, tell all your friends that we are live here on Dodgers Dogs, and that we are going to have a good time. Dodgers Dogs is part of the Dodgers Daily Network, and if you haven't done it yet, hit that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, and if you have not done so, go ahead and subscribe. So we're going to go ahead and get to some video of the game tonight, and it was simply fantastic. What did you think about the grand slam by Austin Gauthier? Wasn't that simply fantastic? And here's the thing about him, really cool, is that I've mentioned several different times. Of course, Austin's mentioned that he had a WRC plus over 150 and that he walked more than he struck out last year. And for guys that do that, those guys actually, and here is the opposite field grand slam. Let me go ahead and get that up on the board so you can take a look at that and look at it again, because it was simply fantastic. Let me back that up and move that over right here. I'm going to back it up and let you see it again. So for guys that have a WRC plus of 150 or above, just one time in their career is all they have to do it. And especially if they walk more than they hit, those guys have a 75% chance at making the major leagues. And of those guys that make the major leagues, 25% of those people become all-stars. Now, I'm not saying that Austin Gauthier is going to become an all-star or anything like that, but I'm just so glad we have talked about him so much and how great he did. Austin Brubaker really has talked about him a lot. I am so glad that Dodgers fans are getting to see him in spring training and just how good of a hitter he is, because he is simply fantastic. And let me say this too, okay? I'm going to go ahead and give credit where credit is due. Let me go ahead and scroll down here. Give me just a second, because I want to read these comments on the Austin Gauthier on his post that I put out on him. His college coach, okay, his college coach at Hofstra, he was an undrafted free agent coming out of Hofstra, was a guy that was very influential to Austin, and Austin grew up idolizing Derek Jeter, and you can kind of see Derek Jeter and Derek Jeter's swing in the way Austin Gauthier does his work as far as hitting the ball the other way. And his college coach would sit down with him in cafes in New York City and have really difficult conversations with Austin about, hey, what kind of hitter do you want to be? Here's your talent, here's what you're capable of doing, and here's what I really think you can do. And honestly, his college coaches, Coach Russo there at Hofstra, and the hitting coaches there, they convinced him that he could be better than what he even thought he could be when undrafted, signed with the Dodgers, and boy, has he really, really, really taken off. And I'm so glad that that's carrying into 2024 and that Dodgers fans are getting to see it. So, hey, we have a good crowd logging in. It was a lot of fun. What did you think about Tyler Glasnow? Let's get to some of his video and take a look at how Glasnow looked tonight. I thought, I mentioned that, it's not just results in spring training. It is the process, no doubt about it. And Tyler Glasnow, when you just look at the way that he looked tonight, Tyler Glasnow was just simply dirty. 6'8" frame. There's that high-riding four-seam fastball that he presents, but it's that curveball that plays off of it. That curveball there, that one right there, it just looks like it's coming out of the sky and it's dropping all the way to the ground. That is a combination of a 6'8" frame, high-riding fastball, plus that curveball that just drops out of the sky. that is the combination right there, that curveball that breaks into the dirt that Dodgers fans wanted to see. That is why the Dodgers went and got Tyler Glasnow, because his stuff is just absolutely off the charts. What he was throwing up there tonight to home plate was simply filthy. I mean, seriously, as a major league pitcher, you kind of get the vibe that Tyler Glasnow could just go out there and throw basically 2 pitches. He could go out there and throw that curveball that we saw right there, and then also that fastball, and probably get through a lineup 3 times scoreless just with those pitches, because they are so just effective. I mean, Tyler Glasnow, I just was so impressed with him. I was so super excited about the job that he did for the Dodgers tonight. So what did you think? Hey, Gregory, thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, everyone. Super excited to talk Dodgers baseball tonight. Yes, Greg, that was a nice grand slam by Austin Gauthier. Super excited about that. Opposite field, you shouldn't be surprised about that if you follow Dodgers Daily much at all. So we have a good crowd logging in. Call all your friends, get them over to Dodgers Daily, and let's talk a little Dodgers baseball. It is going to be a little bit abbreviated tonight. I have an early morning tomorrow. I just kind of wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about what went on with the game tonight. Miguel Vargas is a guy that is struggling at this point, no doubt about it. He is a guy that I think it's in his head at this point. I think it got into his head last year. And so I would like to see, of course, with baseball, man, it's so difficult. There's times like this, and I always talk about the process versus results. No doubt about that. But I will say this, I said this last time, and Austin hit this right on the head about Miguel Vargas. When you look at his process and the way that it's going right now for him, and just the way that he looks, I don't think that he looks like the Miguel Vargas that I remember seeing as far as being confident, being a guy that you just feel like every 10 at bats you're just going to get 3 hits like he did in the minor leagues, especially in 2023. I mean, he was just the best. There are just great baseball people that would tell you that he was the best minor league hitter they had ever seen. And again, but my point here is Austin hit it on the head last time. I say this only to say our expectations for Miguel Vargas are very high, because we've seen him be very, very good. And we like this guy. He's very happy-go-lucky. He's a great young man. So we super root for him. So everything that we say comes from that perspective. Having said that, his process just doesn't look right. I mean, just looking at him at the plate, just looking at the type of confidence or lack of confidence that he is portraying at the plate right now, it just doesn't look right. I will say this, though. It is baseball. You go through periods of time like that. Although, honestly, I've never seen a period of time like that with Miguel Vargas, as far as him just not looking confident. So we'll see how he bounces out of it. Hey, it just takes a couple of hits to get going. All of a sudden, you start feeling better about yourself, and everything is okay from there. So that certainly could happen for Miguel Vargas as well. And I think we're probably all rooting for that, too, for him to make a comeback and to get back to the Miguel Vargas that we all hoped that he would be. So we have a good crowd logging in, actually a very good crowd already. And again, we're going to go here. It is 10:19. We're going to go till about 10:45, something like that. Nothing too crazy tonight. Again, just wanted to check in with you guys, the best fans on earth. And if you haven't done it yet, hit that like button, leave a comment, tell everybody about Dodgers Daily. And if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and subscribe. So it was a great game again tonight. Hey, I wanted to show you one other thing too. Well, we're gonna talk about several different things, and if I'm looking around here, I apologize. I have in my new setup 3 monitors here, so I have monitors for every single thing that I want to do. So I got to look to my left or my right as I'm picking these things up and putting them on the screen. But let me kind of show you something that I picked up on. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. Right here. That's Brendan Davis on the right. That is Willie McGee on the left. Tell me what you think right here. A little bit of Willie McGee vibes. Not exactly perfect. Hey, I've shown some other ones like Alex Freeland in the past. Let me slow that down for you right here. Willie McGee on the left and Brennan Davis on the right. Brennan Davis, to me, giving off a little bit of Willie McGee vibes there. So I got a kick out of that. I enjoyed watching that. Just when I watched him, sometimes when I watch guys, I just, in my head, of course, as a coach, you like to compare guys because it gives you a point of reference to, hey, what type of player could he end up being, or how good could this guy end up being, that kind of thing. So you do that quite a bit as a coach. So when I see these guys, sometimes another guy pops in my head. Willie McGee was that guy for Brennan Davis. Brennan Davis, believe it or not, is a guy. Let's show a little bit more video on him, and let's actually see him in action and get going on him. Let me back that up, and I'll play this right here. Brennan Davis is a guy that in 2015, the Dodgers actually drafted. And then if you remember, in the Yu Darvish trade, he was part of that the Dodgers gave away to get Yu Darvish. This is a guy that is still only 26 years old. He's been around a little bit. He is the exact type of pickup that the Dodgers like to get. Very talented, very toolsy guys that are still younger than you think, like Jason Martin, Yanni Hernandez, Luke Williams. You can think of guys like that last year that the Dodgers picked up, that you feel like, hey, maybe you can tap into some of that potential that they had whenever you first drafted them. And the Dodgers, I say it a lot too, they like to go back and get guys that they've drafted before because they know the type of person they are. They've already, see, here's why the Dodgers like doing that. They've already done the homework on the guy. They've done the homework on the what type of person side of things that those people are. And because of that, now all you got to do is evaluate, hey, at this point in his career, is he actually a guy that could accomplish what we want him to accomplish as far as being a baseball player? Is he a guy that if he gets in our lab, we could turn into a major leaguer? That's all. As far as the baseball stuff, that's all the Dodgers have to worry about when they go get a guy they've already had, because all of the extra parts of it are taken care of. And when the Dodgers, all they have to worry about is the baseball side, we know how good they are. So, hey, we have a great crowd logging in. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, especially on such short notice. I actually didn't really even have any plans of going live tonight, but I tell you what, when I saw Tyler Glasnow and how dirty he was, when I saw Alex Freeland get on the field, Austin Gauthier, hey, Joe Vitrano got a base hit as well. By the way, Joe Vitrano, let me get some video up on him, because Joe Vitrano is a guy. I know we talk a lot about Jake Geloff. Let me throw some Vitrano up here, though, because this is a guy that I want you to know. Now, here's why I want you to know Joe Vitrano. He is a guy that has elite exit velos. So there he is right there, out of Boston College. One of the kind of the running jokes was Jake Geloff and Joe Vitrano. Who hits the ball harder? And to be honest with you, asking around, some people would say Joe Vitrano. That's how hard Joe Vitrano hits the ball. He's a guy right now, though, that when he hits the ball, he hits a lot of just kind of low-line drives, maybe even ground balls. And whenever you have that type of frame, when you're as big and burly, again, he was drafted this last summer in the 2023 draft. That draft class was just simply phenomenal. When you're as big as he is, you'd like to get the ball up in the air a little bit more. So the Dodgers are working on getting him a little bit higher of a launch angle. So if you can take the exit velos that Joe Vitrano has, get the ball up in the air a little bit more, you're talking about a guy that could have massive, massive power, because he absolutely smashes the baseball. So I was super excited to see him get in the game tonight. And by the way, his dad was NYPD. He's from New York, and his dad, man, you talk about a tough, disciplined young man. He comes from a New York Police Department family, and man, he is just absolutely tough as nails. So I wanted to show you a little bit of Joe Vitrano, and then also Alex Freeland. It was good to see Alex Freeland get a hit. Hey, Alex Freeland, we mentioned several different times. Let's push some video up on him and give you a look at Alex Freeland. I really enjoyed watching him. And then also we're going to get to some of the action from yesterday's game, some guys that we have not talked about yet, and Dodgers Dawgs, and some of the prospects that we think that you need to be paying attention to. This is Alex Freeland here. Alex Freeland last year for the Great Lakes Loons, like all of these young prospects they are trying to, most of them are trying to improve their contact skills. That would be Alex Freeland. His strikeout rate was pushing 30% last year. He did, though, have 31 stolen bases, 9 home runs. But I'm telling you, this is a guy in Alex Freeland that when he taps into his power, not if, when he taps into his power, I think he's a guy that could hit 20-plus home runs. I think he could do it fairly easily. And then also with the 31 stolen bases last year, I think he could be that guy that steals 30 bases. I think he could be a 30-20 guy, or at least a 20-20 guy. He has that kind of ability. He was born with a club foot, so he's had to overcome that. So that's an interesting story for him as well. And then this guy right here. Watch this catch right here. Talked about him many different times. Jake Vogel, man, he's maybe the fastest guy in the entire system. Very fast young man out of California. Still hasn't quite got the offensive side of the game to where exactly that he wants it to be, but he can do this all day long and twice on Sundays. Jake Vogel, very, very good outfielder, very athletic. So I was super excited to get to see him on the main field and showing off those wheels that he has. Yeah, hey, Angelo. Good evening, Angelo. Thank you so much for joining. Angelo says Glasnow was awesome. Let's get back to the Tyler Glasnow video and his performance from tonight. And let's take a look at just how awesome he was, because that was certainly worth watching, because he was simply dirty tonight. Here he is right there. Look at that high riding four seam up at the top of the zone right there. And see, that even had fade to it as far as the arm side. Watch this again. I'm going to back this up. Watch this fastball. Little bit of fade to the arm side there to match the high riding four seam, and then also to match that big breaking ball right there that you saw. So yeah, Tyler Glasnow, absolutely, look at that absolute dirty curveball. And the thing I like about it too, here's the skill to it. If you watch it, there is your strike curveball, what's called a get me over curveball. So you have the get me over, and then you have the put away right there. Tyler Glasnow had both of those working tonight, and because of that, he was just absolutely off the charts dirty, exactly what the Dodgers brought him over to be. Yeah, I do think Miguel Vargas eventually will be fine. It's kind of frustrating for me to watch him play with a lack of confidence, in my opinion, that he has right now. But again, it's baseball. It comes and goes. By the way, had a chance to communicate with Gavin Lux a little bit on his end, and no panic for him. He's excited to get back at it. Just needs to relax a little bit, get back into the swing of playing shortstop. Dodgers fans, I'll say this is all we're going to talk about with Lux tonight, is that it's just going to be a process to find out whether he is the guy or not. Dodgers fans are going to have to be patient and give that process time and trust the Dodgers that they will get it fixed one way or the other. BC, Doug having technical difficulties. That is from BC. Yeah, Doug does such a wonderful job in the post-game shows. That's always why I'm not sure if I should come on or not, just for the simple fact that there's so much competition and there's so many other guys like Doug McCain that do such a wonderful job. Hey, Roy Estrada, good evening, Roy. Thank you so much for joining. Andy Pages 100% deserves to be on the opening day roster. I would not disagree with that. It's not going to happen. He is not on the 26. He is on the 40-man. And here is the problem with that. The reason why it's not going to happen, let me push over some Andy Pages here. The reason why that's not going to happen, Roy, is that none of the guys that are in front of him, whether it be Jason Hayward or any of those guys, have minor league options. So to put Andy Pages on the 26-man roster, it is going to mean that you are going to have to cut one of those guys. And I just don't see that happening at all. Let me get you some Andy Pages from last year so we can just keep it rolling and keep taking a look at this fine young prospect in the Dodger system. So I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying as far as him earning some playing time and earning being on the 26-man roster. He has looked absolutely fantastic. He's shown the power. He's lost the weight. He's done all that. From a logistics perspective, I don't see it. I've been saying this for a long time. I don't see it any earlier than August. Hey, I'll tell you what, I've been wrong many, many, many times before. I hope I'm wrong in this situation and that Andy Pages gets an opportunity earlier than that. But we'll see. It would definitely be out of character for the Dodgers to do that, to go ahead and DFA somebody like a Jason Hayward. They're not going to do it with obviously Kike Hernandez. They're obviously not going to do it with Teo Hernandez or Chris Taylor. And so maybe they could exercise one of the options of James Outman, but I certainly wouldn't be in favor of that. So my question would be, if you want Andy Pages on the 26-man roster, who do you want him to take the place of? As far as which outfielder would you want him to take the place of on the roster? And then how would you do it? That would be the question at that point. Trey B, Andy Pages time. Yeah, that's why we're watching him right now. Andy Pages is having a spring training that is catching Dodgers fans' attention. Hey, Daryl Jackson says Alex Freeland is a switch hitter. I haven't seen him bat right-handed that much. Yeah, you're not going to see him hit right-handed that much. And let me see if I have some listed on Freeland as a right-handed hitter and get you some up on that. And actually, whenever I talked to Tyrone Lorenzo, he mentioned that hitting left-handed is quite a bit more natural, just for the simple fact that you see so many more right-handers. Let me actually read this, take a second, and see if I have any right-handed swings from Alex Freeland. I don't see any on here, as a matter of fact. And I'll tell you what, I'm usually pretty astute at trying to grab stuff like that. Oh, here's one right here. Here is Alex Freeland batting right-handed, by the way. Daryl Jackson, ye ask and ye shall receive. So here is Alex Freeland batting right-handed. That's what it looks like right there. I would say probably not quite as natural. Let's back that up and slow it down and take a look at that. Pretty good swing right there, though. Pretty balanced. He's right in the middle of his body, barrel straight to the baseball. So there is Alex Freeland batting right-handed. But yeah, Tyrone Lorenzo said it's quite a bit more natural to bat left-handed because you face so many more righties. Here you can see right there that left-handed swing, just how much more aggressive and how much more fluid that left-handed swing was. Hey, MH says Gauthier looks like a gamer, the type of guy you can rally around. I call them dirt daubers, dirt worms, grub worms, whatever you want to call them. Baseball players, high IQ. And I'll tell you what, the Dodgers have several of those guys in their system right now. And the fun part of that is, hey, when you look at Taylor Young, the all-time hits leader from Louisiana Tech, maybe the highest baseball IQ I've ever seen. He stole 56 bases last year, and it's because of his high baseball IQ. When you talk about Austin Gauthier and his baseball IQ, just the way that he is able to play the baseball game, Drew Avens, guys like that. The Dodgers, they like the high-profile guys, the guys with the big bodies, the big tools. But I'll tell you what, they have done a really great job of grabbing a hold of guys like Austin Gauthier that are just simply ball players. I mean, guys that'll get a base hit up the middle, guys that will shoot the ball the other way, guys that will have a high baseball IQ and be good, not necessarily because their tools are better than the guys they're competing against, but because their IQs are such that they know what pitch is coming. They already know how the pitcher is trying to attack them. I'm telling you, Austin Gauthier, every single day would take 25, 30 ground balls at shortstop. He'd take 25, 30 ground balls at third base. He'd take 25, 30 ground balls at second base. And that was every day. And it was over 100 for probably 2 months last summer. I could not be more impressed with how hard Austin Gauthier worked, with his work ethic, with his work process. And I'll tell you what, man, it's absolutely paying off. And how about the other day? I put it on my social media. If you haven't seen it, it's hilarious. Austin Gauthier got a base hit up the middle while Shohei Ohtani. Okay, so Austin Gauthier, undrafted out of Hofstra. Shohei Ohtani, the biggest free agent in the history of the time. You couldn't have more opposite stories right there together on the screen. So Austin Gauthier gets a base hit right as Shohei Ohtani is being interviewed by Kirsten Watson, who, by the way, she is just absolutely the best at getting those interviews out of those guys. Congratulations to her. I reached out to her on Instagram to congratulate her on just her wonderful way of bringing out the personality in these guys. I haven't gotten a response. Obviously, she has absolutely no idea, I'm sure, what Dodgers Daily is, but hey, wanted to do that. But yeah, so Austin Gauthier gets a hit while she is interviewing Shohei Ohtani, and he got exactly 7 minutes of screen time. Actually, he only got like a second of screen time, but the entire hit, his base hit up the middle, got exactly 7 seconds, and it was back to Shohei Ohtani. I got a kick out of that. That was so funny because that is just so Austin Gauthier. Overlooked, a guy that had to be an undrafted free agent. And guys, I can't tell you how much you have to beat the odds. If you weren't drafted and the organization that you're playing for does not have anything invested in you, and you're playing alongside guys that sometimes they've invested bonus money in, they have scouts that have their reputations on the line for guys that they signed, it is a massive hill to climb over those guys that have scouts behind their names, that have money behind their names as far as bonus money. It's a gigantic hill to climb. Gauthier is in the middle of climbing it, and it is a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, I'm glad that Dodgers fans are getting to see him. Hey, Gregory says, is Muncy's hand okay? I've seen that he has not been playing since he got beaten. Yes, Gregory, they had the x-rays and they came back negative. So Max Muncy, more precautionary than anything, and really in spring training, there's no reason to push anything. So last word I got was that everything was negative, his hand was okay, and that the Dodgers kind of dodged a bullet there. Okay, Larry Partridge, Glasnow came back from the 2-0 count to get the K, no doubt about it. Good evening, Larry. Thank you so much for joining. We have just a wonderful crowd here on Dodgers Dogs. King Yellow Man. Hey, I say it all the time, not the biggest crowd in the history of the world, although it is growing here at Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. But we have the best crowd, hands down, of any baseball show out there. Period. End of discussion. I will put all of you Dodgers Dogs up against any other show, and I would put my money on you because you guys are awesome. So King Yellow Man, thank you so much for joining. And by the way, just another reminder, if you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. Leave a comment, not just in the chat, but also in the comment section. Also, if you have not hit that subscribe button, do that. And hey, I forget to say this quite a bit, but make sure your notifications are turned on. That way, if we do like we did tonight and we go on with a live show just kind of impromptu, then you'll know to go ahead and log in and check out Dodgers Daily because you'll get that notification. So Larry Partridge, thank you so much for joining. Loved how Glasnow came back from the 2-0 count. Yes, King Yellow Man. Hayward struggles, and he's gone. Yes. So let me ask you this, guys. I've kind of heard that theme from Jason Hayward that, hey, it doesn't look like maybe that lightning is going to strike twice for him. And of course, we don't know. It's just spring training. And if you remember JD Martinez this time last year, I mean, I think he was like 0 for 12, something like that. So sometimes for veterans, spring training isn't all about the results. It's not all about, are you gathering hits, this or that. So understand that part of it. But let me ask you this too. How long do you think the Dodgers will give Jason Hayward before they even comes into their mind and even becomes a consideration that he's not going to be a big part of this team? He's coming off a really good year. It's spring training. So I totally get what you're saying, but I'm just telling you, man, it's going to be a long, long, long time before Jason Hayward not being on this team is even on the radar of this Dodgers team. And I think that's probably pretty well deserved by him, by the way that, the kind of season he had last year, the way that he mentored James Outman, the type of guy he is. He's in good with Freddie Freeman. He is definitely a great clubhouse guy. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think that, though, he's here for a while. Hey, Michael Krawick, hey, how about this? All the way from Thailand. The 2-6, the two G's have it, Glasnow and Gauthier. Yes, absolutely. That was a very, very fun show. Gordon Ames Paez on the 26-man roster. DFA Kike. Hey, how about Kike? I'll tell you what, I should have went to Vegas and I should have placed a bet that when Kike Hernandez came back with the Dodgers, there was no doubt that he was going to do something special and get a base hit his first game back with the Dodgers. I mean, it's almost like there's just jumper cables to this guy when he gets that Dodgers blue on. He just becomes like a different person when he gets in that Dodgers blue. So, I mean, you had to know that Kike Hernandez was going to get a base hit and do something really cool his first time up back with the Dodgers. So that was a lot of fun to watch. I know he's a fan favorite with the Dodgers. He absolutely loves being on this club. Hey, King Yellowman, Nando's wife likes Larry Partridge. I like seeing some old school windups. Hey, Norm Lee. Norm, thank you so much for joining. I always love it when Norm joins because he always has such great comments. That kid Swaggerty is having a tough spring so far. I feel for him. Yeah, the thing about him is that he plays pretty good defense. He's a good athlete. Last night, that brings me back to Gus Varland. Gus Varland looked really good last night. I'm going to say this point blank. Let's push over some video of Gus Varland, and let's take a look at him. I know that he gave up the double. I have it confirmed, though. And here you go. This is the process that we talk about quite a bit with guys like Gus Varland. I know he gave up the double, but it was 91 miles an hour. A 91-mile-an-hour fly ball that had the launch angle that fly ball had last night, typically speaking, is a routine fly ball. You're playing a whole bunch of different guys in a whole bunch of different positions in a whole bunch of different facilities that they're not totally comfortable with. So in a regular season game, that 91-mile-an-hour fly ball's hit a left fielder who plays everyday left field in a park that they're very comfortable with, goes back and catches that in a routine manner. Gus Varland looked really, really good last night. I actually communicated with him. He said he was happy with his mentality. He felt like he had his dog mentality back last night. And so, hey, Gus Varland, not going to sugarcoat it. His first outing was rough. I thought his second outing last night, though, I thought he looked pretty good. And then he didn't give up any runs on his count, but he did give up some inherited runs because of that 91-mile-an-hour fly ball. So I wanted to cover that and kind of cover how I thought Gus looked yesterday because I haven't talked to you since then. Hey, Norm Lee, yeah, thank you so much for the comments. Gordon Ames, here's a great trade, Paez for Trout. Yeah, that would be funny. Hey, BC, only guys with as many ABs below 200. King Yellowman, Hayward has elite defense. That's another aspect about Jason Hayward as you're looking at Gus Varland here. Jason Hayward, great in the clubhouse, had a really good last year, great mentor to James Outman, and very, 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 very good defense. So again, this is a guy that's going to be around. Hey, Mike, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for moderating. Mike, I know you wrote a story. I have not even had time to get that out yet. I do apologize. I'm going to do that first thing in the morning. That is kind of an at a glance, a guy that you should know, take a look at type of deal. Thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for moderating that Discord channel. If you have not signed up for that Discord, Mike will put the link to that here in the chat. Make sure and do that because they have some great Dodgers talk there during the games. They have a lot of times they have live video of the games going on. So, hey, King Yellowman said, I just spilled my whiskey, Larry Partridge. Someone needs to tell Kike no silly double dances. Yeah, he likes doing that. He likes that salsa type dancing and kind of bringing that type of fun energy to the clubhouse. That is something that he enjoys doing, no doubt about that. Okay, hey, Mr. Classic, I always love it when Mr. Classic joins. I always say Dodgers Dawgs is part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Not the biggest crowd out there, but the best. Mr. Classic is definitely a part of that. I am 100% convinced Miguel Vargas isn't going to make it. Yeah, there are people on that board. And I think at this point, again, I think Mr. Classic, you're not saying that because he's 0 for whatever. You're saying that just from what you're seeing with your eyes as far as the process of his at-bats. And from that angle of it, I can't disagree with you. I can't defend any of it. I will say that Miguel Vargas has always been a great hitter. He needs to improve his exit velos. So I will probably be the last human being on earth to give up on him, but I can understand why somebody like you would have that perception at this point, and I can't say necessarily that you're wrong just based on what we're seeing with our own eyes. Roy Estrada, Mr. Classic, at least someone with some sense. Hey, Bob Student 10, thank you so much for joining. Must-see TV, Dodgers, Tim, and Clint, maybe sometime D-Mac. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I've been on with all of those guys at one point or another, never together. That would be a lot of fun. Mr. Classic, I understand Jason Hayward made a comeback in his career, but 2024, in my eyes, will regress. Yeah, it hadn't happened yet, though. I mean, it's spring training, and he has deserved the opportunity to have the run to see if it does. And spring training is not something for veterans that the organization is going to get too much in much of a panic about. I can promise you that. Hey, Orlando says, Orlando, thank you so much for joining. Again, if you haven't hit that like button, please do. Leave a comment, leave a like, do all of that. Tell your friends about Dodgers Daily. Make sure and subscribe if you haven't, and make sure your notifications are turned on. Orlando, thank you so much for joining. Hopefully Jay Hay turns it around. I know it's still early, but his ABs have not looked pretty. Can't disagree with that at all. Norm Lee, not convinced Smith is the best protection behind Freeman. Maybe Hernandez would be a better option. Yeah, here's the one thing I don't want in the middle of the lineup. I don't want Tio and Max back-to-back. And I don't want that back-to-back because I just think there's going to be too many strikeouts together between those two. I want somebody in between Tio and Max, like Will, that could go maybe under 20% in a K percentage, something like that, to kind of balance out the two strikeout guys that can hit a lot of home runs. So I would prefer to see Will Smith in between Max. I would prefer to see Max in the 4-hole, Will in the 5-hole, and then I would like to see Tio in the 6-hole, or Tio in the 4-hole and Max in the 6-hole. Something like that with Max or with Will Smith in between. Hey, there is that link to the Discord, to Dodgers Talk and the Dodgers Daily Discord right there. Mike has put the link in the chat. Hey, click that link. Make sure and head on over there. I'm telling you, it is great Dodgers Talk. Hey, Orlando, maybe we need to get billboards for J. Hay, Barnes, and Vargas, how Philly did for Trey Turner. Yeah. Hey, King Yellowman, let's see. All right, he does not like that the dances of Kike Hernandez. I think, making a joke there about the way that Kike Hernandez dances in the dugout, no doubt. BC, that's what Hayward has looked like for most of his career, to be fair. I can't disagree with that. You are 100% correct, BC. And I think that's probably why Dodgers fans have jumped to where they're at with him this fast, is because I think at this point you would have to say last year was the outlier and all the other years have been different. And so it's fair to assume that last year wasn't something that's going to repeat itself. It's fair to assume that he might go back to the way that he was, but he hasn't yet, and the Dodgers are going to give him the run to hopefully see if that doesn't happen. Mr. Classic, we have too many regulars who can't hit on a regular basis. I'll say this. I think Mookie, I think Shohei, Freddie, Will Smith, Gavin Lux, there's 5. I think there's at least 5 guys right there that can approach 300 with a batting average. Not all may be hitting 300, but I think, too, guys like Freddie and Shohei and maybe even Mookie go well over 300. So I think between those 5 guys, that's more than half your lineup. I think you can average 300 or better. Then you have Will Smith, who can hit a lot of home runs. Tio, who can hit a lot of home runs, who I think in this lineup's only going to be better. You have somebody like a James Outman, who was a 4-WAR type of player last year, who was 115 WRC plus, meaning he was 15% above league average offensively. So this is an offense, I think, that more than half the guys can be batting average, high batting average guys, and then the rest of the guys can be guys that slug a lot. And I think that's a pretty good setup. I'm pretty excited about that. Hey, follow our website, too, at dodgersdaily.net. Mike has that link in there. And, again, make sure and hit that like button, leave a comment. Tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily. Yes, Miguel Vargas, Mike does have options. I think it's 100%. I think it's 100%, unless somebody gets hurt. If everybody stays healthy, I think it's 100% chance that Miguel Vargas stays in Oklahoma City. And I think if everybody stays healthy and performs, I think it's 100% chance that he stays in AAA the entire season, because there's just not opportunity there. I think where the Dodgers are viewing him is kind of like a lot of the pitchers, is they're viewing him that, hey, eventually somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to need some time off, maybe go to the 10-day IL. That's when maybe you can slip in a Miguel Vargas or an Andy Pages. I think the question's going to be is who's going to get that call first. I really still think if it was tomorrow and the Dodgers had a situation to where they were calling up somebody to the 26-man roster and the choice was between Miguel Vargas and Andy Pages, I think they would choose Miguel Vargas right now. I still think they would. I'm still in that camp, so we'll see. But I do think there's a 100% chance he's going to start in AAA and stay there until there's opportunity, and that opportunity only is going to come if somebody gets hurt. Okay, so let's get to some more of our great chat. We've had a great show. A great crowd already showed up. Mr. Classic says, Barnes, we know he's bad, or we've kept him for Kershaw's pitcher, so I get it. We have to, yep, that's the one about the too many regulars. Hey, Mr. Classic, guys like Austin Gauthier, Avens are working their butts off. Let's get some video up on Drew Avens. And by the way, I wanted to mention the other day, so here's a couple of things that you've seen from Drew Avens. If I can get to his video, let me scroll you up here and let me get some video on him that we can keep playing, and you don't have to look at my ugly mug. There you go. Okay, so Drew Avens, here's some things that I've seen from him. 53-game hit streak, which is the longest hit streak in the last 4 years in the PCL. 41 stolen bases in a season. Seen that from him. Also, I've seen him bunt his way on base. Did I say hit streak? I meant on base streak. I say that all the time. I'm sorry. If I ever say 53-game hit streak by Drew Avens, please correct me in the chat, because I do that all the time. I mean on base streak. I've also seen him extend that 53-game hit streak back-to-back nights with bunt base hits. One on a pull side, one on a push side. I've also seen him bunt his way onto first base on a routine fly ball to a center fielder, tag up and advance to second base, steal third base, and then score from third on a ground ball. I have seen him do that and generate a run by himself. And by the way, he's been in the top 10 in the PCL in runs scored. And what you've seen so far with the big club in spring training, you saw him score from first base. Let me say that again. From first base on a single. Drew Avens scored from first base on a single. Yesterday, I believe it was yesterday's game, the infield was drawn in, and as soon as they threw it to first, Drew Avens ran for home plate, and he took off, and he scored. Those are all things I've seen Drew Avens do. This dude is simply a ball player, so I am super excited that other folks, other Dodgers fans, probably one of the most difficult fans to impress if you're a prospect, are seeing at least the work process of these guys and giving respect. Now, I'm not saying either one of them is going to be on the Major League roster. I know Austin Brubaker has mentioned several times he thinks that Austin Gauthier is destined to be the next Chris Taylor and be that guy that's extremely versatile. Here's a sequence of Drew Avens getting on, getting over, and getting in. That's not going to be this year, though. So, hey, hopefully Drew Avens gets it some Major League time this year, because it'll be his fourth year in AAA. But more so than anything, that comment right there that I just read really makes me smile, because it's a Dodgers fan who has a huge standard showing respect for these guys' work process and what they've done. Thank you so much for that comment. That means a lot to hear that and read that. That is just simply fantastic. No doubt about it, because they're working to get a spot, no excuse. And yeah, and you're telling me the regulars can slack off because it's spring training? No, the regulars can't slack. I hope you didn't. I don't know if you're talking to me or or who you're talking to there. That's not what I meant at all. I'm talking about the regulars. They're working on different parts of their game. They're working on different types of timing, and I don't mean that they can slack off. I'm not sure if you directed that towards me. What I mean is they're not necessarily results-based. They're not worried about whether their process is gathering hits at this point, kind of like J.D. Martinez last night. They have a certain system like Freddie Freeman talked about the other day. Seems like he's going to go through a period every year where he doesn't get any hits at all. He needs to hurry up and get that period over so then he can get the season started and get going. So if I gave off the impression, Mr. Classic, that the regulars can slack off or anything, or like they have that mentality, I apologize. That's not at all what I meant. Hey, Ocean View Coffee Shop, Glasnow absolutely was fire. Let's take a look at Glasnow again and his performance from tonight, because it was good enough where it deserved getting to be watched again. Here is Tyler Glasnow from tonight. This dude, that high riding fastball from a 6'8" frame, and look at that arm side tail to it, that fade to it, and then obviously the huge breaking ball right there. That is the get me over, and then you're getting ready to see the wipeout right here. That's quite a sequence. Those four seams, the one four seam, the straight four seam, and then the four seam with tail to it. You got the get me over curveball and then the wipeout curveball. That is an incredible sequence from Tyler Glasnow. That has me so excited. Hey, this team should hit 260 plus combined, says BC. I would agree, because I think more than half your lineup's going to hit 300 or above. Ocean View Coffee Shop averaged 4 runs a game normally. Stone and Hurt have a golden opportunity, given that Sheehan may not be ready opening day, but will either actually step up this spring. Well, I think Kyle Hurt's been pretty good so far. He's looked pretty good, and he gets to pitch tomorrow. That's going to be exciting. Let's get to Kyle Hurt, and let's take a look at him. Let me push you on over to him and take a look at Kyle Hurt. Super excited about split squad games tomorrow, which I really like, because that gives just more prospects opportunities to show what they're capable of doing. Hey, by the way, that I wanted to say thank you very much for everybody tuning in, and that we have a great show going on tonight. And with all of the just kind of going on impromptu, thank you so much for joining and paying attention to the fact that we did go live and that we're here on Dodgers Dawgs. So thank you so much. Hey, Mr. Classic, the money has gotten into their heads. I love Bricktown Ballpark, says Empire Jeff TV, one of my favorite places on earth. They built that thing in 1997, opened it up in 1998. It was patterned. It was one of those 90s ballparks like Camden Yards. It was patterned after those old ballparks like Fenway Park. I mean, really, it gives you a Fenway Park, an old Ebbets Field type feel to it. So from that perspective, it's a really cool old place, new old place to go to. It is a great ballpark. Thank you for that comment, Empire Jeff. I totally agree with you on that. I love Bricktown Ballpark. Hey, Gregory says, please smash the like button if you haven't done it already yet. Empire Jeff TV, you do great work, sir. I love watching you work. Great insight. Thank you so much, Empire Jeff. We work really hard to watch these guys, to dive into more than just the results of them. And so when guys, or when people like you make comments like that, we can't tell you how much that means to us. So thank you so much for that. I'm going to go ahead and push over some more Kyle Hurt video here, and we're going to watch Kyle Hurt because he is pitching tomorrow. So you get a good look at him and what you might be looking for tomorrow. Hey, Mike says, I would like to see the Dodgers let Young-Sek Yang pitch an inning or two in spring training. Yeah, that would be really cool. And because, hey, I've heard a lot about him. Mike has been our international prospect guru. I have never seen this guy pitch. So that would be really, really cool. Yeah, Mr. Classic said that wasn't at you. So, yeah, good deal. Hey, Mr. Classic, Glasnow was great today. Give credit, no doubt about that. Bob Student 10, 3 innings pitched, no hits, 5 strikeouts, was awesome. If I was 6'8", says King Yellowman. Yeah, I wasn't 6'8". No doubt about that. That would be a lot of fun. Empire Jeff TV, the bats are going to provide a ton of support. I think for these arms, I don't think we'll have burned out arms this year. I would totally agree with that. And Mr. Classic says injuries play a huge role with the arms. And Empire Jeff TV says, I went there for a few times last year. Talking about the Bricktown Ballpark, I'll be back again this year. It does have old vibes for sure. And hey, Empire Jeff TV, if you haven't done it, if you didn't do it, walk across the canal where you have Brickopolis there, which is like the mini golf course and the arcade. Keep walking due west, and you're going to go along the canal. Keep walking until you get to the Yucatan Taco Stand. And then also, once you go to Yucatan Taco Stand, get you one of their big plate of nachos, man. They're huge, and they're absolutely awesome. As we're watching Kyle Hurt here, let's watch some Gavin Stone video as we are getting ready to wrap this thing up, as we've had a great day of Dodgers baseball. Once you've gone to the Yucatan Taco Stand, order the nachos. I always get the garlic chicken nachos. They are simply fantastic. And then go next time to the Bricktown Brewery. Two great places. You can also go to Abuelo's and have a good Mexican dinner there, but definitely hit the Yucatan Taco Stand first. That place is simply fantastic. It is a go-to for me. Hey, Petroria Height, former MVP, yeah. If they're, let's see, Empire Jeff TV, I'm a lifetime Dodgers fan, started covering them this offseason. I learn a lot from this channel and watch it all the time. Thank you so much. That is just simply a wonderful comment to make as you're looking at Gavin Stone here and delivering. This is actually video that I took from the first row last year at the Bricktown Ballpark that Empire Jeff TV is talking about. I'll definitely go to the taco stand. I went to the brewery. Yeah, it's a good place. They have their own beers, and they are very, very good. Bob Student 10, got to stay in the hunt for Snell. Even if we don't get him, force any other team to overpay. That's a good point, too, there, Bob Student 10. But if Blake Snell is affordable in terms of length, 1 year definitely, that would be something the Dodgers, I think, definitely would consider. I believe if salary is equal for 1 or 2 years, he would choose the Dodgers. Can never have enough pitching. Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Giants going to be a second team in the West. So, yeah, hey, we had a great game tonight. The Dodgers, again, I don't really follow the scoreboard that much, but when you go down, up and down the box for the Dodgers tonight, look at 1, 2, 3, count with me here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 players, position players got in tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pitchers got in. So, hey, Michael Peterson, by the way, I think I have some video on him. Let's flip that up and let's take a look at Michael Peterson. And, yeah, right here. The young man out of Great Britain, the UK. Let me flip that back. I flipped it back to me. Out of the UK right here. This is Michael Peterson. Hey, he got to pitch the other night. What a cool story. I mean, one of the cool things about covering the minor leagues are all the different stories you get to cover. And how about this guy out of the UK? He's about 91, 92, 93, so I think it would probably be, it's an uphill battle for him to get major league time. But again, you never know, man. And the Dodgers bring you in this system for a reason, that high-riding fastball. You just saw his changeup. So we got to see him, I believe it was yesterday. Wanted to show you some video of Michael Peterson. You got to see JP Fireisen. Matt Gage has looked really good his last couple times out. Blake Trinan, hey, people want Dodgers to go get a closer. Blake Trinan, if he keeps pitching like he is, could be that closer. Definitely he's closed in the past. His stuff is dirty. And then I was happy to see Ben Harris get back on the main field too. And the Bill Chris Matt, he struggled quite a bit his last couple of times out. So it was great to see all of those guys as far as getting on the main field tonight, and that was a whole lot of fun. Chapman just signed with the Giants 3 years with opt-outs over the first 2 years. King Yellowman, tacos sound good, but I'm not drinking and driving anymore. That's a great idea. By the way, can the Dodgers do 3 years? 2 opt-outs. I would not go any more than 2 years of Blake Snell. I think he's let the cat out of the bag, that he's looking, he would accept something like that, and I think the Dodgers could probably offer him enough money to make something like that worth your time. So, hey, I'll hang around for a couple more minutes. We've had just a tremendous show tonight. It was a great game. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Can't wait till the split game doubleheader tomorrow. I have to umpire, and then also Oklahoma State is playing baseball at home, and they also have an invitational softball-wise covering them. On my O-State Daily side, we have a split squad game with the Dodgers tomorrow, and so it's going to be a very, very, very busy day, a very fun day. Can't wait for it and looking forward to it. So, hey, I don't see any more questions popping up, so I think that's going to do it for Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network tonight. So probably going to hop on tomorrow night if I can get home in time and get everything squared away, get my videos out. So make sure and turn on your notifications. If I decide to go live, tomorrow's iffy. If I decide to go live, then you'll get a notification and then just pop in like we did tonight. How does that sound? So until then, I want to thank you for tuning in and say, go Dodgers.